I get the same question from real estate investors almost every day. How fast can you really close? My name is Jason Balin from Hard Money Bankers, and I've been lending private money, hard money, since 2007. Done over 4,000 real estate transactions. And the answer to that question is we can close in less than a day or a day, assuming we have everything in, most importantly, title work. So if you have a real estate deal or a real estate investor has a deal and they have to close very, very quickly, maybe their other lender fell out, maybe they forgot to apply for financing and a seller has a distressed property, maybe you have some sort of financial commitment and you need to close very, very quickly. Our company, Hard Money Bankers, and along with other companies that are actually using private capital, should be able to close very, very quickly. You can do due diligence very quickly. Now, we're going to go through a few things. We're going to go through specific factors that impact speed. We're going to go through some preparation for some of these things and what kind of specific things are out of your control, like title work and lien certifications and things like that. Um, a lot of this is going to be geared towards the state of Maryland. That's where our main office is, and we do a lot of lending in Maryland. But this is, for the most part, relevant in any state as well. So, first off, if you're using a hard money loan or a private loan to be a real estate investor, either fix and flip a house or invest in a rental property or potentially take capital on a commercial property out. I encourage you to use capital that is controlled by the person that you're working with. I think that's important. Either their own money or money that they control, not necessarily institutional backed or bank backed. There's a time and a place for institutional capital and bank capital. But if you're a real estate investor and you need a quick and easy, simple solution, you're going to want a hard money lender that controls the capital. Now, if you have a fully stabilized property, you have a month to close, you're looking for the cheapest terms for a long amortization cycle, sure, bank or institution is definitely. But most real estate investors need quick capital to secure a really strong deal, right? So the seller can move on, or just to acquire the property. So the word fast and quick are important. It has to happen very quick. And most of the time, let's be honest, you don't need to close a loan in one day, but it is available when needed. I would probably say, I don't know, maybe a handful to, 10 times a year, we're closing loans within a day because it's needed. But most of the time, to secure a deal, usually if you can close within a week or a few business days, that's sufficient. So, a few things to keep in mind. Uh, Depending on what county you're in, and this is about Maryland, but other states, it's similar as well. Depending on what county you're in, the title company might have to do like lien certificates, especially in like Baltimore City, right? They have to do a full 60-year search for title commitment plus lien certificates if it's a new owner. On refinances, I don't think they do, but typically on purchases, they'll do. And these lien certs take time to do, and it could take up to 2 weeks. So if you're putting a property under contract with a seller, you want to make sure you're setting proper expectations. And usually tell the sellers, like, hey, listen, as soon as I can get clear title work, we can close. And you can have confidence in it with your lender that as soon as you have title work, you can close. Some counties, they can pull abstracts online. Some counties, they're going to the courthouse and they're pulling things, and you need manpower to do that. I remember we did a deal maybe about 6 years ago, and it wasn't in the county, or it wasn't in the city, in Baltimore City. We didn't have to do a lien cert, and the borrower reached out to us, and they had a deal, really, really good deal, and their other lender backed out on them last minute. And they're like, I have to close tomorrow or I lose this $50,000 deposit. It has to be tomorrow. I've already got extensions. It's not going to work anymore. I have to close quickly. So, and we're like, listen, as long as we can get everything in by later today, we'll get this thing closed. No problem. And let's go through some of the things that we were able to do. Um, oh, you know what? One thing with that is the title company that they're originally working with, and this is kind of a little bit of a side note, but it's something to think about. The original title company was pissed off at them, and they didn't want to work with this person because the borrower just kept dragging along because the lender kept falling through. So we were like, hey, talk to the title company and let's just buy their abstract. And they didn't want to, because sometimes you can buy the abstract to prevent getting a new one. But they were like, nah, you're not going to close. You're a waste of time. But they found we found a new title company, and the title company was able to get an abstract. They went down to the courthouse, pulled everything, brought it right back, so they were able to supply us title quickly. By the end of the day, or they went later that day. We went. We were able to get it back in the following day before closing that in that day. But anyways, um, the because they had everything in place, it made life easier. So these are the things that in essence were in place. So obviously the title work was in place. Um, we actually did do a physical inspection, and like this is all happening. Let's just say on a Tuesday, and we had to close on a Wednesday. Our inspector was able to get out there early that next day. The title work got back to us early the next day. We were able to, in essence, the borrower agreed to our terms. They provided the documentation we needed, like a ratified contract and driver's licenses, and I think they needed one bank statement and information on their insurance company. So we were able to kind of move very, very quickly because they had things in place. But keep in mind, not every deal, will have everything in place. And, you want to make sure if you're looking to get a really, really quick loan, you're prepared for what, a lender needs. Now, again, this doesn't work with institutional capital, doesn't work with bank lenders. They have a laundry list of items that you need. But true private capital, true hard money lenders, you should be able to get these deals done very, 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 very quickly, especially if they control the capital. Because on our end, it was like, cool, here's our document list, or here's our checklist of what we need. It's not a ton of stuff. It was 6 or 7 items. Got on the phone, got all that things. They're like, I'll send you everything tonight. So the process was we got as much as we could that day. The next morning, the title work came in. We were kind of negotiating back and forth with the title company. We got the insurance in. We had somebody from our office go and do a quick inspection of the property. Sometimes we have to do inspections. Sometimes we don't. We don't do appraisals, but an institution or a bank back lender would do an appraisal. So we were able to kind of get this very, very quickly. Now, it also helped that this was a single family residential house that was vacant. It was easier. Now, if there was a tenant in there and it was hard to get the tenant, that could have been a challenge. If there was leases in place and our attorney had to review multiple leases on the property, that could happen. This was a regular single family house. Now, if this was a commercial property or a multifamily property, it probably isn't going to happen in 1 business day. That would be tougher, right? Typically when we're doing commercial deals, it could take 10 days, 2 weeks, because we do get some additional due diligence, and most lenders do as well. They'll do some sort of commercial income approach and sales approach evaluation. This isn't a big elaborate appraisal that takes weeks. This is something that takes 5-8 days, call it. And we also get some sort of desk review environmental study. So it's not a full phase 1 study or full phase 1 environmental, but it's a desk review to see if there's any red flags on the property. And if there are, then it might get elevated and the timeline might shift a little bit. But we try to put in place ways to get deals done quickly. And most hard money lenders that I believe you talk to, true hard money lenders, they should as well, right? The goal of this is you're getting a good discounted property and you need to move quickly and you need a nice, easy, flexible loan. So the lender's got to be accommodating to you to do so as well. And I mean, listen, sometimes it just could be that the lender's workload's too high. They have too many deals at that time and they just can't accommodate it. But for the most part, most lenders, especially hard money lenders, should be able to close quickly. So to answer the question of what we started this video with, how fast can you really close? Well, the answer is 1 day, as little as 1 day, assuming everything is in place and everything's organized. And the more organized that you are, and the more ducks in a row that you have, and the more professional that you are, meaning you're able to accommodate the lender to get everything they need, the quicker this is going to work out. So I wouldn't pass on a deal just because it has a very, very quick timeline. But at the same time, be realistic to know what can get done quickly and what can't. My name is Jason Balin at Hard Money Bankers. We've been lending since 2007 in a lot of states on the East Coast and some other sporadic states throughout the country. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Jason at hardmoneybankers.com.